Hello, my name is Jenna Reynolds, and this is my capstone reflection as an ad PR and broadcasting double major. So, first of all, I just want to start with my time as a broadcasting major, and then we'll move on to my ad PR major. But I want to talk about how being a double major has impacted my time at Yacht. So, last spring semester, I started out as a videographer in Yacht, which is a very different from what I'm doing now, which we'll talk about. But I started college and have been in the co-JMC as a broadcasting major first and then an ad PR major second. So when I applied to Yacht, it naturally came to me that I wanted to be a videographer. And so that's what I applied as. And I really did love videography going into it. And then I realized I didn't love videography as much as I thought. And so I didn't love being a videographer in the yacht or in the agency setting. And so I kind of had to adapt and work through that time in last spring where I didn't necessarily want to show up to yacht. I didn't realize that I didn't love doing it as much as I thought I would. And so that's why you do things and you do different things. And so I realized I needed to pivot for myself and find something else. So this was kind of my transition period and my shift. So I realized that I already had skills similar to an AE and that I needed to spend some more time finding more of a focus on my ad PR major because I didn't spend that much time with it because I was so broadcasting focused and thought that's what I wanted to do. And so this college is the time to try out everything. And so I shadowed an AE at Yacht spring semester and realized this is what I wanted to do for this semester, for fall semester. So I already had a similar job to an AE at my current job as a marketing person, consultant at a company called American Vietnam Exchange Program. And I work as a liaison there, helping boarding students in Vietnam get into boarding schools in the US. And I communicate and help them apply, and I host meetings and I do a bunch of different stuff. But I realized I already had a lot of these skills. So crisis communication, I did a lot of, and I still do. I am a liaison between representatives in the US and representatives in Vietnam. A ton of email communication goes into it. And then organizing my tasks and making sure I ask others that I'm dependent on that I need these tasks by this date and making sure I get these tasks so that these students can go to boarding school. So then this is where I started using my ad PR major a little bit more. So I became an account executive this semester, and I already felt a lot more confident. As a videographer, and yeah, I felt a lot of imposter syndrome just because I didn't necessarily know if I had the same skills other people did, and I felt like I was lacking in that department, if that makes sense. But then this semester, I felt so much more confident because I knew I had those communication skills and knew I knew how to do what I was doing. Um, However, it is hard not to be too hard on yourself when you're in a role like this. And there's a lot of communication that goes into it. So it's also good to remember like, this is my first time trying things like this. And so it's okay if things don't go the first time how you want them to go. It's okay if a client doesn't get back to you in the way you'd hoped or something like that. So there's definitely a learning curve with doing something more ad PR focused, which is something I hadn't done as much before, but I really did like it. Okay, so this is some coursework and how I integrated it into my client work. So first of all, Broadcasting 269 with Alan Eno. I learned a ton about videography and storytelling in this class. I already had a lot of broadcast knowledge from high school, but this class taught me about video editing, using Premiere Pro to edit, storyboarding content, and being more creative with script writing. And in general, being creative with how you shoot things. And so I used a lot of this knowledge when it came to being a videographer and editing in last spring semester. Really quick, we'll go through a little example.
Now that college is back in session for fall, a familiar venue has a new look and new owners. The Royal Grove, a live music venue, has recently become a more popular destination for college students' nights out.
So we've been throwing a lot of theme parks.
Drew Grigorescu
Offered us an opportunity
well as new owners, Grigorescu and Rao have upgraded both the physical venue as well as the venue's marketing.
As we try to bring back the life.
Okay, that's enough. But that's one of the videos I created for Alan's class. Okay, then Nebraska Nightly. This class really helped me a lot with learning how to speak better in public and learning how to be comfortable in front of an audience. And especially as an AE this semester, I had to be comfortable speaking to clients. I would take phone calls, I'd be on Zoom, I'd be hosting the meetings. And so it was important to one, act with confidence, and two, know what you're talking about, and three, not like totally messing everything you say up. So, speaking live, I did a lot of in Nebraska Nightly, which then reflected over to my time as an AE. And then communicating effectively was a huge thing. Making sure you're saying what you're meaning and that people can understand what you're saying. So, yeah, last semester in Yacht, I did the final presentation for my client team, Co-JMC, and I was the only one who spoke. And it was nerve-wracking and scary, but it was a huge thing to be able to do that. And I felt very confident, and a lot of those skills translated from my time at Nebraska Nightly. And I also used video production skills from Nebraska Nightly as well in videography. But I'm also using these speaking skills again this semester for final presentations. And then brands and branding with one of my client teams, Chang Min Yan, is actually my professor for brands and branding, which was definitely a unique experience. Having a client and them also being your professor, it's a little odd. And so that was also definitely a place where I had to adapt and learn kind of when to be professional in the classroom, when to be a student, and when to talk about yacht and when not to talk about client work in my classes. So brands and branding, I specifically used a lot of this class when it came to the Arc of Lincoln, which was one of my clients as an AE. Because I really didn't know a ton about ad PR and didn't have a full extensive knowledge on ad PR. I was more focused on broadcasting. This class was good for me to take simultaneously with being an AE and working on the Arc of Lincoln, because I could understand and see more and help my client team more when they are going about branding analysis and competitor analysis and looking at how they can make the branding more on theme and how to make it better as a whole. So that was a huge way I used this class. And then for fun, I added my minor class, one of my minors. I have an English and a leadership and motivation minor. But this minor class really helped me in just learning more about motivation. And I used it a lot this semester as an AE. So I really would just quickly want to talk about flow theory, which is one of the skills, motivation theories I used this semester. Making sure I wasn't distracting my client teams so that they could be in their channel of flow and be able to get their work done as they went about their day at Yacht. So I try not to host too many meetings with them and fill up their time. Effective events theory is a theory about how what happens to you affects your motivation. So if I'm rude to a client team member, and I'm not being the nicest or something, it's going to affect their motivation. So I always had to keep that in mind and stay positive. And then equity theory is just treating people how you want to be treated. We're all classmates. So an industry trend, I'm increasingly seeing the use of digital communication throughout the industry, ad PR industry. I use Google Chat at my work, Slack at Yacht, Teams, and other places like Student Advisory Board. And this really has a lot to do with my key strength of communication and using Slack, especially in Yacht, to communicate with client team members. That way I wasn't going and distracting them. It saved me time. I didn't have to go around the agency looking for what room they were in. And so this was just a huge way. I think these are going to be the future of how we're communicating. And so we're not always going to be in the same room at the same time. And these are great ways of how to keep people productive and keep communication intact. And so I really utilized SLAT as I went through. Yeah. Okay. And huge thank you to Yacht. A huge part of my year this whole year was spent at Yacht. And I think it's really going to help me grow as a person and grow as a professional, and it already has. So thank you.